Hey there, I am experimenting with making these videos when people ask specific questions just so they can hear someone think through a question. I don't think I've done this question before, so maybe I'll make a mistake, maybe some things that I say and think will help you out. I hope that's the case. And I mean, even if I make a mistake, maybe it'll help you figure something out. Obviously, I can't post the text of the question in a video for copyright reasons. So I don't know if this whiteboard format where I can draw will really be all that necessary, but I guess I'm happy to hear any feedback you have. Anyway, obviously you're going to need to follow along on practice test 73, section 3, question 12. And when I'm mumbling to myself here on the video, that will be when I'm reading the question and when you need to read along. So here we go. Okay, so that's more expensive than that. And you need a will. Okay, so they're comparing this first case to this second case, which is about prescriptions. Expert advice. Okay. 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 So this is being equated with this in this circumstance, as opposed to like how do they write it? RX, something like that. Okay, the question is, which of the following is an assumption required by the argument presented in the advertisement? Okay, so our assumptions are usually missing something. Some valid prescription or other, some valid. The comparison might be this, that would be my prediction. This, they talk about this in relation to this, but not in relation to this. Let's see if one of our answers says something about that. A, that's complexity. B is okay because it brings back in the software that was mentioned but wasn't mentioned in the rest of the argument. I would eliminate A and not B. I guess I could do this here. A is out. C talks about satisfaction, and so does the argument. I pulled out this word, but maybe it would have been better for me to pull out that word. D says no, D just says it's wills are bad in general, which doesn't matter because we need a comparison between the cases. No, E doesn't give us the conclusion about wills, which is what we need. So B says the software can't do it as good as a lawyer can. And in this case over here with the prescription, our doctor gets us something we're satisfied with. And C gives us that conclusion. Yeah. doesn't rule out the possibility that even though the software might not be as good as the lawyer, we still might be satisfied. We still might be satisfied with the conclusion. So I have to admit that as I was thinking through this, the way I was thinking through it was colored by the fact that you had stated the answer was C. When I'm working with my students, something I always say is, once you find out that you got a question wrong, don't write down the right answer immediately. Instead, just say that this mark it wrong. So in this case, you chose B, and then you found out that the answer was C when you looked at the answer case. When that happens, don't write down that the answer is C, just write down that you got the question wrong, because then you can come back and you can think through it again without knowing what the right answer is. You're not going to remember that the answer is C in one of a question on logical reasoning questions sections. You're just going to know that you got it wrong. So come back and solve the question again, and now you know that B is not a possible answer because you know that you got the question wrong. So solve the question again with 4 answers and think through it. And then whichever answer you pick, try to make a comparison between that answer and the one that you picked the first time, because you might be able to self-identify the mistake that you made or figure out a way of thinking about how the authors of the test want you to think, the things that they want you to notice. And that is going to be something that sticks in your memory more than something that someone else tells you. And knowing that the right answer is C is going to color the way that you think about it in a way that you're not going to get when you're taking the real test. So I think it's better to resolve the question with one answer ruled out than to look at a specific, than to try to justify to yourself why a specific answer is correct. Anyway, thanks. Hope this helped. Bye.